Welcome back to Retro Wednesday, the Titanium Hanger. This is Mike, and today I'm going to show you my collection. This is the amazing, awesome, crazy collection that I have going on over here. Probably about 70-something toy lines shown, but I like to do this because I like to show how I display things. Maybe it's going to help you. Also, I'm going to have a link down below where you can submit your collections for the 17,000 subscriber special. But with that, we're going to go ahead and dive into this collection. I usually do it every 6 months, but it's been over a year now, so well overdue for a collection update coming up. All right, so we'll start out with this wall. Just starting out with the office here, I do have my 12 shuttles, Imperial shuttle for Titanium Hanger, and I have them on top shelf. I plan on doing something with moving them around somehow, and then putting some play sets right there in the center. So I have a couple of ideas of maybe moving them, putting some shelving above that. But anyway, that's some down the road, maybe a year from now or something. But then, if you look at the whole wall here, I have it set up. This is my carded stuff. And I really haven't been chasing vintage. And yes, I bought all of this like almost a decade ago. I've kind of stocked with the vintage Star Wars because it's so expensive. But I have the Power of the Force up top. Then I have Star Wars. Then I have goes into Empire. Then it goes into other things like the Empire Jedi. And I think that's about it. At the bottom, it's kind of set up like a card back. So at the bottom here, you get to see on the bottom how we have the vehicles or beasts or all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much how card backs are set up. But let's take a look at a few of these other things I got going on. Okay, so getting into the Legends figures, so I'm going to get a little bit more bright light on this. Bright lights. This is really fun that you can just fit this many figures in this small space. But this is all the space I allocate towards Legends, so I have to be better at this. I have to be able to get rid of some figures that I don't want, that I don't really care about, like the older version, and keep the better version that I like more. So when you have 2 or 3 of the same Soundwave or the same character, I just kind of pick the same one. Now, Jetfire is an exception to the rule, and so Prime and Megatron and a couple of those other ones. But for the most part, I've been doing a pretty good job of getting rid of my extras and not having them clog up space. So I love this display. I think it looks fantastic. I got a little bit of stuff behind there, like some pictures and stuff. I'm realizing a lot of this is going to be shaky cam or handheld, but I really do like how my GoBots turned out. So there are 2 GoBots per on this shelf, and some of these extras up top and stuff, but 1 in each mode, and that's how I think you should display Transformers if you're displaying Transformers, or GoBots if you have the ability to. Obviously, cost is a factor, but I got about 75% of this over a decade ago, like 11 or 12 years ago. So the few I had to get up to this, they were pricey, and I was so glad I didn't have to get like Psykills, didn't have to chase down a Psykill, and didn't have to chase down some of these other ones that are just getting more expensive. But I really do think this is fantastic looking toy line when you got them all displayed like this. So a lot of fun. Now along this wall here, I do have some boxed vintage collection stuff, and to me it's just not that big of a deal. I know a lot of people are just chasing all this vintage collection stuff, but I'm not as interested in the vintage collection as I used to be. All right, so here on the top of the desk here, I do have some Crystar stuff going on. And so this was the best way I could figure out to display Crystar. And so with that selfie mode here, I set this up where I have the good guys on the left, the bad guys on the right, and some... Actually, I have another comic, some comics in the back there. But it's just setting it all up like this. And I think that's the best way to do it overall. That's the best way to do Crystal. Now, another thing, people are going to get mad. They're going to say, oh, you've got more than 1 action figure, like 4 of the same action figure. I've had some flack from people that get mad if you have 4 action figures. So if you have 4, if you get mad about that, put it in the comments if I trigger you by having 4 action figures. All right, so coming over here on the other side of all of this wall of vintage collection stuff. Now, there's some actual vintage stuff in there, but I just am not big on the prices on this stuff. Like back when it was affordable and it made sense, but nowadays it just doesn't really make sense to me so much. Now here's a couple of 2 of my best Death Stars and foam and all that kind of stuff put together over here. Of course, some mini shuttles, shuttle Titaniums. They call it the ISP6 or something like that. I don't even remember, but yeah. So I do kind of have some stuff going on over here, and that's fun getting down into last 17 stuff and yeah, again. Shelf work in progress. A lot of stuff that I'm working on, I just kind of toss some figures over there. I don't know where to put them. And yeah, a lot of the stuff is things I'm still working on and trying to make happen and stuff. So get parts for them. But yeah, I had most like a decade ago, and some of those are stand solos, and some of those are you know, repros and stuff. So it's not all original. And then got some more Star Wars boxes down here, some exciting stuff, and then it's kind of it's one of those things you don't want to mix Star Trek and Star Wars, but at the same time, I had no better place, had no choice. And what I got over here, I got a couple of Rambo towers that just fit there. I would rather have them around the Rambo stuff, but I just ran out of space. But I want to have extra towers. So this is really hard to capture, and it's really bad lighting, and I didn't want to move my lighting setup over here, so I'm just going to make it quick. And so with that, up top here, I have 5 Death Stars. Then I have 4 of those newer shuttles, Imperial shuttles, and I got 2 vintage box shuttles. Those are just empty boxes, by the way, for those vintage ones. And then I've got, for my last update, I think I hadn't done this yet, where I moved these over. Maybe I did. I moved those over to make room for Unicrons, and so I do have Unicrons over here, so it's a lot of fun. I've got the HasLab in the alt mode, and then I've got the Zeta toys in bot mode, so that's pretty good. And then getting down in here, so this is a display masterpiece. I would venture to say most people are interested in the masterpiece displays. And so with that, I've got combiners up here, some other just weird stuff. I don't know why I've got it in here, but looking over here, I've got the mini bots, all these little mini guys over here floating around, and then the alt modes, the alternate versions of the Fans Toys figures, and then trying to wait to build X-Transbots, Defensor, and getting down into this. Okay, so what I did here, and I don't know if you can see it so well, I got Duplico in the way because it was a Father's Day gift. Blows my mind that thing's selling for 70 bucks on the secondary market. But anyway, so I have in here some granite. I went to a granite place, same place to put my countertops and windowsills in. And I asked if they had any spare granite that's broken. They're just going to throw it away. They had a ton. So I just cleared a ton out. I could have even gotten more at the time. I made like 3 trips because it weighs your car down so much. But it worked really well, and it looks kind of premium high-end in here. And so I did this in 2018, so it's really been the same, except figures swapped out and changed. This is my Season 3 and 86 movie shelf, but I don't adhere to, like, it has to only be. I mix and match a lot of stuff, and I put some lighting in here, and some of the stuff isn't even Masterpiece. Getting over here, I have some Star Wars stuff, box Star Wars stuff. It's just stuff I've had before. Nothing's changed at all, like literally in the same placement, exactly the same. Now I've taken these boxes down and put them back up, so they probably aren't as tight as they used to be. I had them like perfect, 0 tolerance to how they looked, but really didn't bother me that much. Coming down here, I got some the modern GoBot stuff. It's not good. It's not good stuff. It's okay. I wish somebody would take GoBot serious. I really do. I wish somebody would take the GoBot serious like they did with the Action Toys DX Psykill and just give us, I don't know, 10. Just give us 10 or 12. I mean, we don't need all 72, but whatever. And then this is where it all was Star Wars. It's been taken over by Transformers and GoBots and stuff. So getting over here, I do have 2 or 3 of the vintage skiffs. Okay, two vintage and 1 modern, and then A-Wing. And so really the new stuff is right here with this Rock Lords. So get a little light on that situation. This is how I display my Rock Lords. It's kind of hard to see there, but you do have, I've got 2 of each in there, except for these really expensive round ones there. Those are kind of a pain in the butt, the Shock Rocks. And then right below that I have my Gnarlies, and then more Star Wars that I still have it, so I'm not really too big or keen on like acquiring anymore, but I still like to keep the stuff that I have. And same thing over here. Got, well, actually it's different. There's some Star Wars stuff, but in front of it I've got some extra Legends, like Headmasters and stuff that I haven't really gotten rid of, actually, some of my extras. They're just not in my display over there. And I guess they're just kind of junking up this display, and so more stuff here. I have some Battle Beasts down here. I got a few things going on, and this is kind of the area I like to put things I'm working on, which I'll probably be working on Battle Beasts for, what, 35 years, because those things are too expensive, and I just don't want to spend that kind of money on them. And the Crystar Castle is one of the things I want to put up on that top shelf, and I'm just afraid to put it anywhere else because I'm afraid it's going to break. And so it's very fragile, very, very fragile. Okay, so getting into how do I display some Decepticons. So this is my Decepticon shelf. I've shown this in pictures before, and this changes like all the time. In fact, I'm trying to not change it, trying to keep it the same as much as I can. But as I need to pull something out for a video, I have to pull like 4 out of the way to make space. But coming down here to the Autobots, this is like season 1, season 2, and I got Headmasters in there. So season 1, 2, and 4, and all kinds of stuff. So it is getting a little cluttered. I will redo it once I get more pieces that need to go in here specifically, and just more of just reorganize it. Like, not redo it. I'm not going to tear it apart or anything. I'm just going to move it around slightly and make things look a little bit better. But I'm happy with this because I can see pretty much every figure. And I draw inspiration on this. So like when I'm working on a video, the concept's there, and I just, maybe a motivation, I could say. Maybe less inspiration and more motivation. I look over here and I kind of get motivated. I just like to see this stuff, and it's really exciting, really fun, and motivating. I got a Grimlock coming in. I got a Masterpiece Grimlock on the way. Alright, so we're going to get into this room. I'm going to kind of go over some stuff going on in here. And has a lot changed. Yeah, some stuff has changed in here. It's kind of different. And I've done videos about a lot of this stuff. Most of this is actually in a video, but for the most part, some of the stuff is not, and I'll be getting into. But, you know, it's vintage fun. I'm going to go each shelf by shelf and just give a little bit of information about it. But quick overview. And some of the stuff's kind of stayed the same. Some of the stuff I've added to it. Of course, that's what makes it fun. A little less lighting over here in this area. One of the problems I have, and I hate to admit it, is putting this stuff on the floor. That's why I want to display those in a different spot, and I think I figured it out, but it's a long ways away till I get that done. So the first thing I want to talk about is Bionic 6. It's more like Bionic 60, and so with that, starting at the top, I do have some boxes over here, box stuff, and then I've got a couple of other ones here. Now, I'm trying to do a few things. So one of the things I wanted to accomplish here was to put the playset in place, and it looked more like the playset. Before I just had each element just kind of up there. Now I have it laid out. I don't have a big enough shelf for it to be set up properly though. So with this thing here pushed all the way out, like giving it a little more space, it's closer, but it's not all the way there. And here are the 6, what are the quad runners? So one of each Bionic 6 family member on a quad runner. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So my plan is to have 6 figures on 6 bikes, but they're not all complete and they need some work, and it's just something that's kind of on the back burner. I have like 30 projects going on. A lot of them are on the back burner. So here's Bionic 60 over here. Now this is something else. I mean, I don't know, probably someone will get triggered and go, oh, I do have 4 or 6 of the same figure, but I like them. And I kind of got into that little rat race of chasing perfection, and these get little chips and dings in them so they don't look perfect, and trying to find a perfect one is really hard. None of them are perfect, so I just stopped that. I was like, oh, that's not enough. But it's still fun. It's still fun. Plus, you got to have extras to make scenes like this. So, well, not really. This isn't the greatest scene in the world, but it's still something. It's kind of fun. And did pick up some more carded figures. I like that. And funny little story is that this is a childhood crate. I don't even know if it was a Joe or not, but it had Joe weapons and all my Bionic 6 weapons. So I had almost a set of Bionic 6 weapons back then. All right, RoboCop. I got a few shelves of RoboCop here. I got some Ecto ones. This is the Robo one. It's not Ecto one. Robo one down below. And then this is mostly Kenner. Some of it is Toy Island. And with the Toy Island stuff, it's kind of cool. It's kind of interesting. They did some different stuff. They went a different direction than Kenner. So it's fun to have it all. And it can intermingle because they're about the same size. But you can tell they're different stylistically. And they're different material-wise, so... but I do have, like, as I get an extra weapon or piece in a lot, I just toss it up here because I know I've got the figure somewhere that it needs the weapon. But I love the helicopter, too. It's awesome. Trying to keep this... As we get lower, I can put it on the tripod and it not be shaky cam. But here is the Kenner stuff, mostly. There's a lot of stuff that's really cool, like these chambers and the chair. And I haven't done a review of the Toy Island stuff because I don't have it all. And I actually don't even know how it all works. I don't even think my stuff works right. But I do have some background. So everything's going to have a background in it. I even have the unreleased stuff, like pictures of the unreleased stuff over here. Just handy. It's kind of fun stuff. All right, so let's get out of shaky cam mode for a bit here. And this is Robotech. Now, Robotech is kind of a fun story. A sad story, but a fun one. But in 2018, I traded a bunch of my Star Wars Black Series stuff to a buddy of mine whose uncle passed away. And he got the Robotech collection. And so I had that Robotech collection. I made a video about it, and then I got hit with a copyright claim. And I thought it was Harmony Gold, so I was just irritated, frustrated, and it wasn't a complete collection, so I just sold it. And then down the road, I found out that it was a scammer that hit me and not a copyright claim from actually Harmony Gold. So I was like, okay, well, I can actually start talking about Robotech again then, because I thought it was an affiliate of Harmony Gold. So really nice. And so I started collecting it again. But you know, if these companies come at me, I'm gonna have problems with their properties. You know, that's just one of those weird things. Like, don't go after some little guys for nothing. Okay, so here we go with Inspector Gadget. I really like Inspector Gadget. It's a pretty cool toy line. They're mostly like statues with little gimmick features, but it was fun. Cheap toy line to collect. Not, I wouldn't say easy, but not expensive. But the transforming car mechanism is really awesome. Tiger Electronics, Tiger Toy Company. Okay, getting down here, this is a mess. This was my Aliens. Then I was like, well, where am I going to put all this extra stuff that won't fit on my Robotech shelf? And so Robotech took over the Alien shelf. This literally is just a mess. It was one of my favorite displays, and I thought I could work it in, and it doesn't look that good. In fact, I'm going to do this shelf justice. I mean, I really went to town with the pictures and the backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. And then there's even that Joy Toy background display set piece. But yeah, and then I've got one Starship Trooper thing. It's the Bug, which is really cool. And then I got a few of these motorcycles, 6 of them. So you can put, you know, different characters on them. Is it 6? Oh, I guess I got 7 of them. And also down here, this is my pathetic Dino Riders display. I got a few Dino Riders in here, but after about $300 worth of spending on Dino Riders, this is all I've got. And then looking at what I need to do to go forward and get more stuff is just so expensive and hard to find. And they each come with like 80 pieces. I decided against it, so I'm just going to stop unless I find a really good deal on a collection or something. And then over here is, this is another project. I'm going to make, between the two of these, one perfect one. So that's my plan. That's my plan. Okay, so getting into this. Okay, so this is my GoBots display up here. And so this was where I had like a big pile of GoBots downstairs in that one shelf, and then I had my favorite GoBots up here, but I decided to turn this into the Super GoBots display. So I do have a Japanese version of the Power Suit, and I do have a Robocop that wouldn't fit anywhere else, and then of course we're going to go into a lot of these obscure ones. There's a couple more pieces. It's probably a couple months out, but I've done videos on Super GoBots, every single regular GoBot, and a few other things, and then the Super GoBots are kind of cool. I'm surprised how many they made, but yeah, that was a fun video. Getting up here to Indiana Jones is his Kenner and LJN, and I think all I'm really missing from Kenner, I might be wrong, but I think I'm only missing the truck, and I saw one for like $100 missing 2 parts, and I thought, well, how hard would it be to get those 2 parts? Where would I put the truck? I don't even want the truck, so I didn't bother. It's like one of those things that, this is so stupid expensive, I wouldn't even be in it if a friend of mine did not sell me his childhood collection for $200. And then of course it cost me like $600 to get everything else, so. But it was a nice starting point, getting his collection. I was very thankful for it. And I cherish it. I cherish it even in the pieces that aren't the greatest, that have been really worn out. Okay, so looking at this collection here, starting at the top, I got some box Centurions, going into some of the other stuff, but looking at the whole, I want to kind of show how I set this up. So I set this up with bad guys right here, and then Max, Ace, and then Jake. I'm going a little shaky cam here, but I do like having the weapon systems set up without a figure in it, as like that's kind of cool to have on the side. But the best way to display them is with a figure in it. And yes, you're going to have, like in Jake's case, 5 Jakes for displaying that. I also have some Tron mixed in here. So the thing is that size adjustments on the shelf to maximize space just didn't work out. So I had to have this in here. So I've got my Droideka, so Destroyer Droid display collection. I just kind of picked one of these up when I found them for $1 or $2. So never spent more than maybe 5 on any one of them. And that was kind of fun. Over here I have my Ravage collection, but it's covered with my Retro Indiana Jones. It's just kind of get in where you fit in and put it where you can, that kind of mentality. So looking at these good guys here, I do like a couple things. I like to have the comics in the back, and I've got the Ramen Toy prototype right here, so that's kind of fun. And then moving into it, I moved Ramen Toy out of here to its own shelf, and I think I've shown that in the past. So I think that was definitely worthwhile. There's a couple of things like bootlegs. They call them knockoffs, but they're really bootlegs made by themselves. If you look right here, this is Glinda. She fits in. Yeah, Glinda's waving high right here. If you don't know the HasLab Dragonfly Glinda, well, this is just the 3.75 or 4-inch version that they've already made of her, so it's not like she's anything new, I guess. But with that, there's 5 systems for Jake down there, and I do kind of like Like the swing shot's pretty expensive, and then the Seabat is pretty expensive. But the thing about those are that everything else is relatively easy to get for those main guys and their weapon systems. I'm looking at prices just dropping on these things, so it's a good time to collect Centurions. So moving here over to this corner here, let me see about getting some more lighting on it. So I did show how I built this shelf. It's a corner shelf, and this is not exactly what I had imagined for how it would look. I actually should have made 3 shelves instead of 2 shelves, but there's a little bit of wasted vertical space right there, but I did make up for it with some pictures in the background, and I think that really adds to the scene. But these are both toy lines that are post-apocalyptic toy lines. We've got Captain Power, and we have the Spiral Zone side by side. I really like both toy lines. I don't really care because a lot of people act like Captain Power. They don't care about Captain Power, but it's pretty fun, exciting toy line if you ask me. So the way I have this set up, I got the bad guys up here, and so the Black Widows is I think what they call them, something like that. Anyhow, this is something that I was really trying to get every one of the suits, like the different alternate suits mixed into it, and then I also wanted to get the weapon systems. I don't have all of them, the systems that they have, like backpacks and all that kind of stuff, but I should have that in here. It's something I want to do long term, figure out how to make all that happen, but it's still kind of fun. It's a really fun toy line. And I need to do the vehicles. I need to do a video on the vehicles. Going off the tripod here a bit. Background, you kind of see, it's kind of fun. I just kind of made up and put in some buildings that have been destroyed in a post-apocalyptic time frame, but fun here. I do have the ninja set up, the desert set up, and then there's like the, I don't know, there's a paratrooper in there, that's upstairs or up there somewhere. Anyhow, that's how I kind of set this all up to kind of have everything in there and look good and displayed well, I believe. So it's fun. The rimfire, it's got the JAXA version of the bombs. This is the JAXA version of the rimfire, and it's got the US bombs, missiles on there too. Bombs? Balls? Captain Power stuff is a whole lot of fun too. I like the Captain Power stuff because some of this stuff I never knew they made it. And then you realize how awesome it is once they made it. And so getting up here. The figures, of course, look amazing. There's really, I only remembered about 4 figures. And so the rest of them were kind of like, I think I remembered 5. So the rest were kind of a surprise to me that there's so many of them. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot. Funny, there was like an auction that went for a whole collection for like 800, and then the prototypes went too. So that was pretty interesting this past week. So interesting week in Captain Power. I do like the Skybike launcher. That is really awesome. And all these other these releases that they only released overseas that they're kind of fun. Hard to get just because they weren't in the U.S. So tracking them down, not a lot of fun on that. So getting over here, we have some Silverhawks. I've done videos on Silverhawks. I am going to be doing a review of this here, the Mirage, and I'm working on trying to restore this here. So there's a lot of work, a lot of projects that I put on hold here and there, but there's stuff that needs to be done and work that needs to be done, fixing, repairs, because I get this stuff, I try to get it as cheap as I can. Like, I'm not over here just balling out. I'm buying this stuff as dirt cheap as I can find it, and then I fix it, or touch up paint or whatever. But right here, it's a new addition to my collection, though. I'm really happy with them. Just realized how Silverhawks do not film well with a lot of light because they're so reflective, but there is the Quicksilver Ultrasonic. The prices are just coming down on a lot of stuff. That guy you can never get him under like $500 or $600, and now you can get him for a couple hundred. I mean, that's still not a good price, but I'm saying it's like within the realms of reality. Not $600 on one of those is not. Okay, so getting into Dungeons & Dragons, I really like this toy line. It was more challenging to collect than I thought. I really thought it would be wham bam, thank you ma'am, simple, get it knocked out in a month, and for $600 maybe. So generally how I do when I start a new toy line, I allocate $600 for the first month, and then I see what's left. And then there was a lot left of this after the first month. I was shocked. But anyway, you're going to see more. I got some extras for the display with the playset. I think that was a pretty impressive display. And then down here we've got some kid work Thundercats. And so with this, when I made my video about this, I didn't have that one right there, Eye of Thundera. And so oddly enough, one popped up for sale. I bought it and had it, but it's not complete. But I'm glad I got it then, because this stuff's just getting more expensive. Thundercats collectors are brutal. They are brutal. They will go to you toe to toe on these auctions, and you just like, what budget do you have, you Thundercat collectors? They spend tons of money on Thundercats. Vintage LJN. I don't think they seem to care about what's going on with Super 7 these days, but there's my one Thundercat that has original shreds, complete, working, all that kind of stuff. But all right, we got some bad guy Thundercats going on right here. We've got the full Thundercat collection in here, so it's fun stuff, but this was a frustrating line. I quit collecting it 3 times. I just stopped, and then when I quit collecting stuff, I ponder selling it, what I've gotten. But I don't have everything for Thundercats, and I never will. It's just ridiculous. See, I'd rather spend $500 on this than like chasing down one piece that's going to cost me Togosaurus, $2,000. But anyway, this thing here, I think they did a good job on it. Could it have been better? Of course. There's more things they could have done. Could it have been cheaper? Of course. And they made about 8,000 or 9,000 of these. So I thought they were only going to make 2,000. So it's not rare at all. And you can get it a lot of different places. So that Cat Slayer, man, Cat Slayer, I wonder how they do that Cat Slayer. Getting over here into the Sectars, I want to pan out just a quick, and I'll show Sectars. I've got the playset set up, and I kind of duplicated all of the parts. I was missing a couple pieces when I first started the playset, so I got a couple part slots back then, and I was like, just in case something breaks or something. But I went crazy with the ladders. Got to fix that ladder there, but they're just modular ladders. You can just put in as many as you want. I think I got 11 of them or something. And then I got a few extra Thundercats over here, but not Thundercats, Sectars. All right, getting into the Sectars right here. And I got 2 of each on the shelf complete. And this is kind of what I do to reference, like, what does this weapon go to? If I have a random weapon in a random lot, because that always happens. You'll buy maybe something for Rambo or something for this or something for something else, and you'll have this random weapon. I'm like, which figure does that go to? Just so I know. And this is a hard toy line to figure out what weapon goes with what. The checklists are not as clear as I would like them to be. So when we get into this corner, this is just, it's kind of a tough corner to film. It's an easy corner to see when you're in person, but filming it is a trick. So with that, I do have some A-Team vehicles I put up here. I just think they kind of look cool, but they are so oddly shaped with the helicopter and all that to get them on the shelves. And I wish I would have put deeper shelves in the first place. So I got really shallow shelves around this room, especially on this wall, that I wish they were deeper. So so I got a lot of excess floor space now, and now I'm putting stuff on the floor because those shelves aren't deep enough to hold as much as they should. So anyway, let's look at the A-Team stuff. Now I'm having to zoom in, so it's probably not going to be very sharp or crystal clear, but I do have some extra figures I had picked up. I swapped out and upgraded a few of these. I know Amy for sure, and then Mr. T, and then there was 2 different variations based on his mouth. So that's kind of cool. I didn't know that when I did my video on this, so I'm still learning more about these toy lines as I go. It's one of those things that I do a video, and then I kind of wish I would go back and remake videos, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not, but I probably should in some cases, and then delist the first one. I don't know. Chuck Norris, Karate Commandos. Fun toy line, cheap toy line, real easy. I think for like $200, $250, you can bang out the whole toy line and variants and everything. It's really a simple toy line to collect, but very satisfying. If you're a Chuck Norris fan, if you like Lone Wolf McQuade or any of those other kind of movies, or Texas Ranger, I guess is what you know for the most, but that's nowhere near as cool as Lone Wolf McQuade. All right, so it's hard to get light on this, shed some light on the situation. Cobra Kai really was a resurgence of Remco Karate Kid stuff, and because that's really all there was Karate Kid for the Karate Kid. Now there's some modern Karate Kid stuff, but it's not very deep. They don't go deep at all. They just keep remaking Johnny and Kreese and Daniel and maybe Miyagi or something, but nothing really touches the depth of this line, which really isn't that deep either. It's only like 6-7 characters, but for the most part they've remade them with different gis and stuff. But at least they have soft goods, and it's pretty cool. Now this is another toy line that I'm still confused about every single accessory that goes with everything, and I don't know if I'm going much deeper with it, but I think it's fun to have what I have and where I've gone with this. Going into more shaky cam, and I'm sorry, I try to use the tripod as much as I can and not do shaky cam, but with this, this is the Black Star collection. I've got 2 of each. I've done a video on this. So the reason I have 2 of each, because, well, for the most part, not all of them, but they have one that is a sparker and one that is not a sparker. So the Series 1 didn't have sparking, Series 2 had sparking, so they remade some characters with the sparking gimmick and all that stuff. So it's kind of fun. Getting down here, we got the Galaxy Rangers. That was a fun toy line. And then Supernaturals. So Supernaturals, I haven't done anything with it really, because once you finish the collection, you finish the collection. And so with that, I plan on doing a Supernaturals video for the playset. Plan on doing the playset this Halloween. So that's a simple playset, but it's funny because they were like super cheap playsets when I was collecting this line, and I was like, I don't have room for the playset, but I'm creatively made a place for it. But anyhow, getting into Rambo. Okay, so my Rambo collection has a ridiculously large footprint, just ridiculously large. So I'll go in and kind of zoom in on it, but showing the footprint of this, there's a lot of figures, and I have a few of each, but I think it's a fun toy line. Doing a little shaky cam. The playset's a whole lot of fun. I really like the playset and what's going on with it. And then the tower, and I actually had the other 2 towers up here, but it was just too crowded having them up here. But it looks really awesome when you think about the toy line and you think about the movies, and you think they had more than one tower in the village or where they were staying, not just one tower. So having an extra tower is a lot of fun, in my opinion. I do have the helicopter. There's other color helicopters, so I plan on using these as like space holders for the space and getting the other different color helicopters in here. I do have one of the different color helicopters up there. We'll look at that in a second. And then just kind of a shelf for, like, the ninjas have their whole shelf there, and some stuff going on over here. But getting up here, this is the Joxa shelf mostly for the Desert Brigade, and some of the unreleased stuff. Now I actually still need to do a video on these guys, and that's something I've been planning to do for a while, but I haven't yet. I just need to. And I don't think anyone's really got a video of them up yet. I like the tricycle, which you can use for your G.I. Joe Classified, by the way. That could be your Dreadnoks, but the problem is we don't have Dreadnoks to put on them yet. We got Zartan and his sister, and that's about it. So Zarana, and she's got her broken arm. Well, not mine. I don't know. Her arm's not gonna break in the package, will it? So I like the Black Dragon Ninja. He comes with a lot of stuff too, and these figures come with a lot of stuff. Series 2, really hard stuff to get your hands on. Series 2 stuff is just super hard to get all the pieces and parts. The figures are not so hard to get. It's the pieces and parts that are hard to get. And then there's more bad guys, so I like to keep the bad guys, the baddies, the baddest of the baddies. And then down here we get into the good guys and gal. Good gal. There was one girl they made. So cat. It's funny too because there's a lot of cats in the toy lines of the 80s. And Rambo, of course. It's just really hard to display with all the stuff on, so some of the stuff's just kind of laying there, but it is what it is. And then the Defender 6x6 is a really cool vehicle, but some of the things I didn't know about it when I first had it and reviewed it, now I know more about it, and I might have to go back over and revisit this toy line, definitely. Okay, so looking at Voltron, not much has changed. I've added, really, I think only thing that's changed at all for Voltron is Blitzway. I added the Blitzway in, so now he's the same size as the Matchbox vehicle Voltron. So if you were to get one Voltron, I would suggest the Blitzway, or the original Matchbox, of course. But funny thing, I don't know why I leave this here and don't put it somewhere else, but I just leave it there. But it's got that, it lights up. It's a Game Boy that lights up. Back in the day, it was a big deal. Now every screen lights up. That's just the way it is. Down here, these guys, the only difference is I worked in the one right here, the Robo-Duo, the Blitzway, and it's okay. It's good. I actually like it better than the SOC. I think it's better looking, in my opinion, than the SOC. But I don't think the SOC is bad at all. But again, I skipped the SOC the first go around. Mine's a reissue. Mine's not even the first run. So, and then down here, I've just got more. Panache Place. Panache Place did a good job with their stuff because they made so much. They just made figures and they went in there. The Voltron itself is probably the worst, most lame Voltron ever, though. This is where I feel like I've let it get to clutter point. But wherever I put this playset, it's clutter. Unless I can figure out something better. But with that, this is the Mantech, and the playset is awesome. But it's so big and round, and it doesn't make sense to put on any of my shelves the way they are. So I run into this problem with a couple of toy lines. This is one of them. And so with that, I still think it's awesome. I love the playset, the vehicles. The figures are kind of, I don't know, like Adventure People style figures. It's pre-Centurions. Kenner did it better, way better, I believe. But moving over here, I just have the Boulder Hill and just some extra stuff So it's like Boulder Hill storing some extra stuff, which doesn't really give Boulder Hill everything that it deserves. I don't go after boxed in the package stuff, but if I get it really cheap, then I pick it up. So that's kind of where all that is. And then Brave Star. So I do like Brave Star. Brave Star is a whole lot of fun. I'm looking forward to what Ramen Toy does with Brave Star and getting that in here. But I do have a total of 3 4-Cariums. I displayed those in my video. But I really think, to do this toy line justice, you've put the Fort Carium behind your figures and just display it like that. So the way I did it was just kind of whatever seemed to look the best with the characters. And so really is a whole lot of fun. Just a lot of fun with this toy line. 3030 is a terrible figure, but also amazing looking figure in the steed mode, in this riding mode. Now the 3030 coming from Ramen Toy is not going to transform or convert into the horse. So yeah, there's still definitely a need to have this guy in your collection. So I'm getting up here into Dune. So in recent edition I did get all of these. They're like stompers. I might do a video about them one day, but they're like stompers. And my buddy helped me get them working again, showed me what to do. And it's similar to what you do with Kenner stuff, but the way you take it apart is different. So this is the taking it apart, the tearing down, and then remembering how to put it back together, and how all of the little gears fit back in. That's the part. But this toy line is still a challenge to collect. I don't know why this is so hard to collect. It's a failed toy line, and the people who buy it, like they bought it and it's in their collection, don't want to get rid of it. Because, hey, I've got it, I don't want to get rid of it. Clash of the Titans, I've done a few more things over here. Not a whole lot, though. I mean, I just kind of hard stopped on it after I did my video. I had enough to make my video, and I was happy, and I like having some extra soldiers around and stuff. There's a few other things I was looking at picking up that were like homemade. So, like there's like a new sword. Somebody made their own sword that looks more like the show, which makes a whole lot more sense than well, oddly enough, the expensive, crappy one that they made. So the original one sucks. And this 3D printed one's pretty good. Then getting into superpowers, I haven't done much here either. So this was a terrible toy line to collect price-wise. This stuff was hard to get, and I still have half my Capes Repro, and I just don't care. It's for me to look at, and knowing a Capes original doesn't make me enjoy it anymore. It doesn't make me think that Batman's not any better if it's an original Cape. Although I have my original Cape over there, it's just the Repro looks better. So. All right, we've got some Batman stuff. The 66 Batman, and this was a lot of work to get this all set up here. I had to move a lot of stuff, and so that's the best I have for this toy line to fit. And I'm going to put more figures in there as time goes by. I really think McFarlane did a good job on that. This is just extra storage, and that's what happens. You end up storing stuff. Storage, yeah. And why? I don't know. What I want to do is have another whole one set up, another display there, eventually down the road. All right, getting into humanoids. Big figures, a lot of fun, kind of crazy. I do have some more. I got the vehicles now. I think I did review the vehicles. I gotta check. But anyhow, yeah, I've got a Green Arrow figure in here. I don't know why. Should have checked all that before I made the video. No. So pretty much one of everything. I got a couple of duplicates here and there, but like this toy line here I was happy to get it done and over with. These things are expensive. They're hard to get. I think they're getting more pricey as time goes by. Just another failed toy line, and failed toy lines are hard to get your hands on. Power Lords, fun. I got to tell you, I was collecting this, and I was thinking, why am I collecting this line? I don't know anything about it. I only had the Atom Power, which is this guy right here. And why am I collecting this line? And then I got to realizing, this stuff is awesome. These figures are cool. The vehicles are interesting. The playset is twice as good as Castle Grayskull, I guess. So we'll get into looking at that here. But Power Lord's a whole lot of fun. And there's variants. They have variants on a very short run toy line, which is interesting. Getting down in here to Visionaries. Nice to imagine, like, nobody's doing Visionaries. There's only one Visionary. I'll show you the only one new figure made. I do have Ektar in here getting his, they have stolen his totem. And yeah, it's fun. I started out this line with getting the Dagger Assault first, and I got it for like under $200, and it was only missing a few parts. And then down the road I found a parts lot for like 30, and mostly completed it. And so there's the figures. I do like that people 3D print stands, so that's nice. And then you can put your staff in the stand also, so that's kind of cool stuff going on right there. And you can barely see the vehicles because I piled the figures in front of them. Running out of space there. But here we go with the good guys. And those are some custom figures right there. There's a custom lion that got painted. I don't have room to do all the animals. I just did one just to see what it looked like. But here we go with some figures. And that's the only thing that Hasbro's made so far. And it's not even a hologram. It's just, but it's good enough. If they at least they did that for us, I'd be happy with it. I really would. I mean, if we could just get them like that, I want the holograms, but if we could get it, whatever it takes, no matter the cost. All right, so here we go with Cops and Crooks. So these are the Crooks, and again, not much has changed here. Let me get this into like a non-shaky cam. So I keep telling myself I'm going to put this cyborg jet together, which is just a recolor of this. I put it on the shelf right here, but I still haven't. I like the comic books behind it. I love everything about this shelf. And so for me, when I do a display like this and I feel like it's got the perfect amount of empty space and everything's just right about it, then there's no need to do anything else with it. Then I feel like I've done a good job, and I can move on to other things. So with this, I move on to other things. So I sure have. Going up here, we have some, this is finishing up Cops. I was going to hang them. And I don't know. I might still hang them, but I haven't yet. But with that, they just kind of integrate into a mask shelf. And here we go. That's where I forgot to talk about this in my Visionaries video because I can't fit it on my shelf the way I have it. And the more I look at it now, it's like my shelves do have a lot of storage, a lot of stuff stored in there too. And then up here we have more of the Kenner mask. And looking at this, okay, so these guys are like bootlegs. They're kind of cool. And then the Ramen Toy Red Gullwing, that's awesome, really awesome. Should be shipping pretty soon too, so all the mask fans are gonna just love that. That's fantastic. Getting up here, I was gonna get into these adventure sets and stuff. These are just so hard. If you didn't already own it from 2011 or 12 or back in the day, you're trying to get them nowadays. They're just way too expensive, in my opinion. But you can say that about almost every toy line, pretty much. But yeah. So I use this top shelf. It's kind of hard for boxes and some of the rare items, and it does get cluttered. But yeah, whatever. My packaged Vortex stuff. Got to figure out a better way to display it in there. I like Vortex. At the time, I refused to collect it because of the fact that it wasn't Kenner Mask, and I want Kenner Mask, and I want to speak with my wallet. You know, that's a funny thing. Like in the 90s, I spoke with my wallet, and what it did was it made the stuff that came out not sell, so they stopped making it, and it's more rare and harder to get. Yes, some 90s stuff is rare and hard to get. Shaky cam, sorry. But this is some cool, more Kenner Mask stuff. We've seen all this before. Really, almost nothing's changed on these shelves in the past year. Maybe a different figure in there. This one, CFCV, they made that 6-inch. And I don't know. I'm not sure if I really need to go with a whole other line of masks. I think I'm just happy with what I've got. I got some more figures I can put in some vehicles and stuff. So it's kind of a lot of fun there. And then getting down here to the last display for Cops. I think Cops and Crooks is a fun toy line. They're making the 3.75-inch, 4-inch figures from Chicken Fried Toys. So I will definitely pick those up. $30 each is steep as heck. In fact, that's more expensive than the average Cops figure goes for right now, complete on eBay or in the groups or whatever. So I would suggest to just go with the vintage, but they do look really good on the CFC. But this is a fun toy line, and I feel like it's cluttered, but it's my fault because I put several of the same vehicle in there. That motorcycle is cheap and cool as heck. A couple things left to showcase in this room, and looking at it now, I realize this just looks so cluttered. But I still love I still love seeing it. I love seeing it out like this. So I have some extra figures for Black Star to go with the Ice Castle, and it's just such a beautiful castle. It looks so amazing. That it's one of those things that I wish I would have chased it down earlier when they were cheaper and had everything. Mine's still not complete, and it's not the end of the world to me because it just looks so good like this. But over here we have the Inhumanoids vehicles, the Trapper, and the Terra Scout. So, but I put something on top of each other, and now you can't even see the Trapper. So my Trapper is trapped. Moving over here, we have the Power Lords Vulcan Rock playset, which is just a nightmare to try to find parts for, but get it complete. But it's pretty darn close to complete. I'm pretty happy with it, and I like it. It's got so many features to it. It's pretty fun. It looks really good. It looks amazing. It's one of the ones I want to put in the office on that top shelf eventually. But it's also funny because a lot of people only display it separated. Like you would never really think to put Castle Grayskull and just separate it at the clip there, but everyone I see that shows them off shows it separated, and the commercial shows it separated so that you can have the bridge connected, which is really interesting toy line, interesting playset. Here goes some miscellaneous stuff, some Vortec, and it's not. I had it displayed better. Now it's just kind of piled in, and another Unicron, and yep. So I think that's gonna wrap it up for this room and move on. So this is kind of like a hallway. So I put biker mice in here, and so with that, I like the biker mice. I like the way they look. I don't really want to go forward. The things I'm missing are just the ultra rare stuff that's so expensive that you're looking like people want $300, and I'm like, nah, I can do without that. So, but it was a fun toy line to collect. And then getting up here, I did a video about this. I did a whole week of biker mice, and people didn't seem to care. I know there's a community out there of people that like biker mice, but I have a feeling this sale is gonna have some trouble. I really do. Selling their biker mice stuff. They're trying to push it pretty hard. I just don't think there's enough people. Like if the vintage stuff out there's just not that many people that were interested in watching the video. How many people are interested in buying the stuff from the sale? That's just my thought process. But then again, I just might not have the right market. I might not have the 90s people, for my viewers. But there's more of my Joes. These are Joes from my childhood. So I had all these as a kid. These were my they were saved by my mom and my grandma and all that kind of stuff. And then getting up into Spiral Zone, way up there. That's a Spiral Zone and stuff. Spiral Zone. Pretty cool stuff. So I'll point out, I got frustrated collecting the Spiral Zone stuff back in the day when I was collecting it. So I started to buy sealed in the package because it was as cheap, if not cheaper, than buying complete examples loose. I really hate it when you can't find loose examples for a better price than sealed. That's crazy. Just some of the mainline stuff. I just have my mainline stuff over here. Some of it, the rest is in like a big box. But then here is Beast Wars. I've got a lot going on with Beast Wars. Masterpiece. And I think you can mix the Masterpiece and stuff. My lighting is hitting at the bad spot, but they're beautiful. I mean, I love the show. I hated the vintage toys. So now getting Masterpiece of the show that's pretty decent. So all of these, I did a video showing all these, but this is my childhood carded Joes. So that's why I haven't chased carded Joes, because I have it from my childhood. And there's some like, what is this, RoboCop? Sealed RoboCop. Again, RoboCop pretty cheap. Some sealed modern stuff, pretty easy stuff to collect. The cheaper stuff I get in the package. All right, so quickly I'm going to kind of show the movie theater room, then I'm going to go shelf by shelf and just discuss it and talk about it. But I've got more things that change. I shuffled around stuff, moved things around. I'm getting ready for big things like Eternia coming in. And yeah, don't be pre-ordering it from eBay. I think those are scammers. And if they aren't scammers, then you're still opening yourself up to a possible scam moment. Even if they're legit people and they're just, we're just not going to ship it to you. So do not pre-order from eBay. And here we go with some other stuff. I mean, this is just kind of a quick overview. I'm going to go over everything real quick. Well, in more depth and talk about it and kind of the pitfalls and perils of collecting all this fun stuff on this fun Retro Wednesday. First of all, looking at this corner, it kind of looks junky. I did kind of get into this situation with my flag where I'm not happy with my flag's tower superstructure. So I ended up picking up couple extra superstructures parts as I went, and I'm gonna eventually do like a second part of the flag where I take it all down and rebuild it with the best parts. I think I have the best parts set aside. So this area is usually, well, there's figures sometimes there's not, but I'm ready for the Fans Toys cassettes. They should be coming in pretty soon. I'll do a review on that. Shozy did bill me for them today, so I have those coming in. Down here we have Black Series. I don't do much role play, but I thought that was pretty cool. It was like $80. The Gauntlet, what's it called? I forgot. Anyway, I'm not a Marvel guy, so, but it's Thanos's thing. Okay, so Black Series, all the Black Series stuff. I like Star Wars Black Series in the retro vintage style packaging. And I really just feel like a chump when I bought a standard one and then they put it out with the good retro packaging. And I really kind of hate the standard packaging. I would rather just have it all in this packaging. So what I do is as they put it out in the retro packaging, I display it. So that's kind of how it goes. Getting over here, I do like I like what NECA did with Back to the Future. Now there's going to be a Back to the Future DeLorean car, the time machine for 1/12 scale. One of these companies is doing a project. It's $300 early bird, and then it's going to be $400 when it comes in, I guess. But that's a lot of money for a 1/12 scale, and I already have that one, so I'm fine. I don't need to go that deep in it. And then I also have some Terminator. Been terminated. So this is a fun toy line too, and the cool thing is that they've made stuff in the past. They make stuff, pretty recently, and so it's easy to get. I bought a lot off of eBay, and it had pretty much everything in it I needed. So I kept my new stuff sealed. So that was kind of fun. This is my superpowers. Let me see if I can get all of it in one frame. So with this, I did a video about it. I got razzed because I didn't know what company made it, what year it came from, all this nonsense from each figure. I'm sorry, but half of these I got for like $5 at a secondhand shop, at a toy shop or something like that. And so with that, there was no tag saying what it was. And when I look it up and there's 11, and I'm trying to match it up to the 11 Wonder Women that were out there. I mean, so it's kind of funny how people are like, if all you collect is DC and you think about it 24/7, you know all the different variants. But if you collect it for 1 month and then you move on, you just don't care that much, right? Anyway, I do like the more Black Series stuff down there, and more Star Wars Black Series stuff over here. Michael Knight chilling. So we are getting a new Black Series R2-D2, which we sorely need, but the Bandai model kit was the best one, and somebody else put it together. I got it from someone else, so that was pretty cool. Do have some Indiana Jonesers, some of the Disney ones over there. Then the other Gauntlet or whatever it's called. I just can't think of it right now. I feel so silly, I can't think of it, but anyway. Snap over here. Okay, getting over here, I do have some Optimus Primes, and that's another Optimus Prime over there. And then we get into the Dungeons & Dragons display, which I really like. And this was a lot of work, a lot of fun putting it together. But with it, let's go ahead and look at the bottom. I got a couple extra horses down here, and that's kind of fun stuff. And then moving on up, we have the playset itself, which I think is the most important. It's hard to get a good angle on this, but a couple of these guys, I was wanting to put them on the top shelf too, but I felt like you've got to have some sort of equal numbering, I guess you could say, or some sort of balance to each shelf. So I think I brought the balance to this shelf the way I did it, and then down here like the ogres, and you can't even see them, but there's other standard ogres in the back that are guarding the treasure, and that's fun too. And so with that, this is a really fun toy line and all that good stuff. And coming up here, now these PVCs, I did the video about them. I don't have them all, and I'm not really chasing them, but a couple have fallen in my lap since the video, so I'm pretty pleased with that. But I think I've got like 3 or 4 that I need to track down if I bother. I might not even bother. But what I really like is the top shelf. To the untrained eye, this top shelf probably isn't all that impressive, but it will be. It will be impressive when, because they're shipping right now. So over here we have Sheila, Presto, and that other one that's coming in, Sheila, Presto, and Eric. So they're coming in. So BBTS has said that they're going to be filling that pretty soon. So then this will look balanced properly, and it'll look good. It'll look a lot more impressive. So then from this angle, you kind of see where the Eternia is coming from. So this, I never really showed the Eternia table from this angle. All this is coming off when Eternia shows up, and these are going to populate Eternia in all different ways. So it does look kind of like a junky display right now, because the Eternia is the ultimate goal. and so how it looks and all that kind of stuff. Then I have the prints on the wall, so you feel like you're actually in the cartoon. A quick little tip, I print them small and then piece them together. So this still costs like $50, but it would have been like $200 had I just had them print big poster size stuff. And I'm not all about that lifestyle, to tell you the truth. So 50 was already a pain in the butt, but I've done some updates on this Eternia stuff, and you know, Masters Universe, vintage Masters Universe stuff is still pretty darn cheap to get. So I integrate Origins, vintage, and all that with this. It's a whole lot of fun. But at the end, this is going to look magnificent when Eternia arrives in like 8 months. It feels like if Eternia arrives. Let's get more light on this situation. It's funny how this does start to look a little bit junky when you have a lot of stuff in here, but I really like the Thundercats Castle. Now, Super 7's been talking about teasing about theirs, and I will literally put theirs right in front of this, if that's how it goes, which kind of sucks in a way, like not seeing the vintage one, but depending on how tall it is. But I don't know, I might redo a whole lot of stuff to incorporate them side by side, because I'd rather have them side by side. But anyway, I didn't have the mutant attack sled when I bought this. I got this during the funding campaign of Eternia, because I think everybody's money was strapped for Eternia, and so I was able to snag that for like $600, which I think is a great deal. And all I really needed was more or less the mutant attack sled. And then these are all extra figures I use for display or for reviews, so I just store them over here on this shelf. It does look kind of junky, but it's easy access, babe. All right, so I'm getting into this is the Police Academy stuff, and I already did a video about that. But you know, it's one of those things that I'm done. Boom, move on. And I really like what's going on up here. I love the bone troller. It's really cool, and so you can do a few things with it. I will do a review on it eventually. I think I'm missing a slide flute or something. That's all I need to have a complete one, but I don't think that's really that important, to tell you the truth, and I might just get a generic one to put in there. So I did get another playset. So I got 2 firehouses, and I was able to put stuff in these firehouses and fill them up. They are just crammed full of figures, and I'm done with Ghostbusters. It's just the stuff that's left is expensive, and I don't have any real tie to it, and I didn't truly care for it that much in the beginning, but I appreciate what Kenner did with it overall, and I really like that Hasbro put out some real cheap stuff. Ollie's, you can just go in there and clean up $4 a figure, get a lot of the ghosts. I mean, it's outstanding that you can, in 2023, get something cheap that's still pretty decent, pretty cool. So, and I do like how the Police Academy and the Ghost House look like they're on the same block. All right, so Castle Grayskull, I will repopulate some of the figures that are on the table over to here when I put Eternia in, and so I just don't know exactly. I really don't know what's going to happen until I get Eternia. I keep making these plans as if I have a real plan. I don't have a plan. I just have an idea. You don't know until you have it in hand exactly how it's all going to fit and work, all that kind of stuff. So, Filmation Ghostbusters, I really like it. One thing I'll say is if I get my hands on the Ghost House, Castle Grayskull's going to get kicked to the curb, and I'm going to fit it on the table, close it up, put it on the table. And I've already planned that. And so this is like pre-planning. Pre-planning if I get their Ghost House, their whatever you call theirs, their playset. If I ever get my hands on one of those for a good price, then I'm definitely going to put it right there. So it's worth showcasing right there. So these figures, vehicles, fun stuff. There's not much more you can do with this line other than get that playset. And I have extra figures to populate the playset when the time comes, if the time ever comes. Now getting down here, this is really hard to film. I will go shaky ham for a second so you can see everything, but I am really pleased with the bridge and how the bridge came out. I did that like 2 years ago, year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Very, very pleased with how that worked out. It was cheap and easy, and it really added a lot to this display. I wanted to put it in the center, and when I did sort of have it in the center, you couldn't see the figures very well. So you have to have them out there. Now it kind of covers up the 2008 figures that are stored over there. But I'll show that here in a second. Alright, so I think you can see some of it. I have some tropical background stuff going on in there. And oh, what's this? Oh, it's hard to get in there. Oh, well, whatever. Knocking stuff over. Still a fun toy line. They did it. I think they did it right back then, except they did it wrong in the beginning by doing the Crystal Skull stuff, and they did it right later on by putting out all the rest of the movies and doing it the right way and putting the figures we want finally. But too little, too late, and now those are the hardest ones to get. This section here is kind of hard to film, but just kind of show what's going on up here throughout all this. Then I'll get a little bit closer, and my lighting setup is not going to help me as much over here as it should. I can see it really well. The camera can't pick it up very well. That's the problem. So we have the turtle van going on over here, which is kind of fun, and we got a Monstar, and then some just extra storage stuff. And then really this is how I kind of store my favorite Thundercats vehicle. That is by far my favorite vehicle, the Hovercat. It's really awesome. And then over here, the Bug. And I think it's highly underrated. Love that thing. Love it, love it, love it. It makes for a great display also. Dukes of Hazzard. I'm only missing, really only missing one figure. I'm missing one figure in 2 variants. But if you can look here, we got the Bowen, Luke, Duke, and then you got the Coy and Vance. But they're really not Coy and Vance. It's just variants of Bowen, Luke, Duke, and then variants of Uncle Jesse, and variants of Daisy. And then there's 2 different, well, there's the Gay Toys stuff, and then there's the Mego. So, fun. Pretty much almost the whole toy line there. Just knocked it out in a month. Getting over here. That's modern stuff. Let's stick down here to the vintage, and then we'll go to the modern. So, I try to keep all the vintage in that other room, and the modern stuff out here, but it's so hard with all the vintage. But we have Dragon Riders of the Sticks right here. Dragon Riders of the Sticks, and then some Bugs that made by the same company using the same molds, which is pretty interesting. And then we're getting over here into the Defenders of the Earth, and so I really like the Garex figure. I do have some NECA in the back, and then the regular stuff in the front, so that works pretty well. And then looking right here, that's a Jade Walker, which is a bootleg, and hint hint, I had to paint her. That sucked. It was a pain to paint her. Now this looks kind of sad and pathetic because we're missing some figures that are going to be coming soon, pretty soon. So we're going to be getting the Apache Commander, which is going to be John Thunder. We should be getting the Antagonist Scientist, which would be Dark Terror, and just more and more to fill the shelf out. We're going to have a weapon system pretty soon, so this will fill up relatively quick, but for a while there it was just getting jammed full because I had too much. I had Silverhawks on here too, and it was just too much stuff. So I'd rather have it empty now, knowing that it'll eventually get filled, and filled very well. Love what Ramen's doing with it. And then Silverhawks. And so I haven't even shipped my Super 7 Wave 1. All I had shipped was Steelheart, because she was the only one in when I hit ship. So the rest of them I'm not in a huge hurry for. There's my custom Copper Kid. And then here is Ramen Toy Super 7. I did make an update on this. Ramen Toy does have pictures of their Mademoiselle. So I searched their page the day before when I made my video about updates for Super 7, but it wasn't up yet. And so I made my video, and of course it posts the next morning. But then, like, later on that afternoon, I found out that they've got their Mademoiselle, or Steelheart. Here goes what I got going on. So, Thundercats. I pulled a lot of figures out of here to put in the Thunder Tank. I still have some figures. I have some extras I got for like real cheap. So I was like, oh, got a cheap extra figure and put it in here. I don't have a place for Street Fighter just yet. But so I plugged in this Chitara, just kind of a filler. I'm probably going to have a different version of Chitara in there. The glow one, I already ordered the glow one. Before we get into He-Man, though, I do want to show, I'm doing the same thing with He-Man as I am with the Thundercats. So with the Thundercats here, there's the bad guys. And although it does look like a lot of bad guys, it's not a lot of bad guys, because I've put in the NECA Gargoyle, which that's actually a good guy, right? I think. And then Goliath. And then there's some Tiger Sharks. So I got some good guy. I only got a few Tiger Sharks, but there they are mixed in to just kind of populate. They're all in the same world, sort of. And then here we go with the baddies of the bad guys for He-Man, Motu, And I still, like, these guys don't have their own shelf yet, so I've got to figure a lot of stuff out, because when I get more of these, I want a whole shelf dedicated to just them. I actually think I might put them on the top shelf over in the other area, but I'm not sure yet. Not sure yet. Fun stuff going on. Alright, so this is a mix of classics and Masterverse, so I missed the boat on the classics, and so with that, I do like that there's Masterverse figures that are coming out that rival classics. They're almost as good. Some of them are a little better. Like, I think that's a better version of Man-at-Arms. But still, like Beastman stuff, I still think that the classics, and especially the 2.0 Filmation, is much better. And I got some of the loose 2000X versions of He-Man up here. And then I've got a couple extra of the Bionic 6 playset. So coming down here we have the first HasLab, and that is the Katana Cell Barge, and I think it looks fantastic. I like that it's open, that you can kind of see what's going on inside there. That's how I like to display it. I feel like if it's covered up, you're wasting a lot of the work and detail that was put into this, and a lot of the display. But I also think that with the covers on it, it still looks awesome. So definitely, I gotta say, this is one of the HasLabs that should be a HasLab. There's a lot of them that I really think should not be HasLab, but this is by far, there's no way this would have ever hit retail. Sky Striker would be at retail. A handful of other ones could make retail easy, but not this guy. I haven't done much with this down here, but a little bit. So looking at it, this is still about the same. I end up putting stuff on there, so trying to get one of each color gun, so I have the variants for the Bionic 6 playset and all that kind of stuff. I love how it looks like I got the Starlight Pit. I think I had this a little different. I've moved some stuff around, but anyhow, it's a lot of wasted space. It really is. It really is. I could put more stuff there, but I put so much work and effort into this, and I like it. So, then right down here, this is pretty cool too. This is a lot of fun. And then getting down here, like I got more stuff in here than really should be in this Rancor display, but when the HasLab didn't fund, I went ahead and found one of these for real cheap, like it's a Power of the Force 2 version. So, anyway, I got some more stuff down here on the floor. I don't have much vintage Turtles, so, because I just don't really, I got what I like, and that's about it. So I'm not going to go deep on that, so this area is kind of strange. There's the Trimaran. There's not much really with that toy line for Waterworld. I love it. I love the Trimaran. I can't believe they made it. It's insane. There is, I did that video, Retro Wednesday, on this one here, the Karate Attack Center, the Attack Alley playset. And then this is a toy line I haven't talked much about. This is Arco the Otherworld, the Zendo Castle. And so Bendham's figures, kind of fun. And then I guess we'll kind of go over here a little bit and show this is Tiger Force. Alright, so I do love the Tiger Force stuff because it does a breakup. It's just cool. I hated it as a kid. Love it today. But yeah, it's kind of fun. And then I've got some of the Street Fighter in there. Down here we have 90s. So, and I have no connection with the majority of these characters because I didn't have them back in the day. So, but then of course the Street Fighter's there. So, it's like whatever. So I don't really go after the 90s stuff so much. I do like the Street Fighter stuff though. That is pretty cool. Pretty slick. But getting up here, we have kind of the base. And I did put that on a double level. Kind of built it up the same as raising a flag. I raised the headquarters. The headquarters is so basic and yet cool, but I like it. And then some stuff over here. Now I can't bring myself to opening this Beastman, although it's vastly superior to the Masterverse one. I was hoping to get like a loose one for real cheap. And then down here I picked up another one of these. Another Classics figure. I just can't, with the new Buzz Off, I guess the new Buzz Off will have to do. I'll just keep that guy sealed. I just can't do it. Flag is just, it looks kind of junky. So, yeah, it does look kind of junky. And there's the flag. I really gotta pull a lot of stuff off this, make it look a little bit more like everything belongs that should. But, you know, there's some of the Super 7 reaction figures on there. I kind of like that. Some Super 7 reaction figures look good on it and stuff. But there's the tower. I'm not happy with the tower. I saw someone do a 69. I thought it was funny to put a 69 on there. But anyway, 99. Here we go with, so as I go, I'm replacing Classified with Super 7. I know some people think this is a sin, but I just like the look. So give me the look, Classified, give me the look I want. Then I would just only do Classified, but that's not the option. They don't give you that option. Well, maybe not yet. And then more Joe stuff over here. So it's kind of fun. I've got it classified in boxes, and then working on some Indiana Jones. So I've still got to figure out what to do, where I'm going to display Indiana Jones, where I'm going to put more stuff. So it's just the way it is. Anyhow, getting over here, this is my classified shelf, but I've got another shelf I'm going to put these guys on too. So I don't have everything open. I haven't opened everything yet. I kind of have my shelf and everything set up for vintage for the most part. So just like this, and I had this in a video not too long ago. So Charodrome, love the Charodrome, absolutely love the Charodrome. And all this over here. Let me improve the lighting real quick. I am in just a real tough spot for my lighting. I got a Serpentor statue back there, and love the bats and the storm shadows and all that kind of stuff. So fun going on right there. Getting over here, just kind of how this whole thing looks. It's just all Cobra. Now, the funny thing is I had this over where I have the flag now, but then I needed the space for the flag, so moved all this over here. It doesn't really fit the way I originally intended. So, like, this stuff wasn't set up for this spot. So it doesn't look as good as I had it the first spot, but that's just kind of having to move things around. I do have the Python Patrol kind of stuff here. That's fun. Then down here, this is where I'm going to put more classified stuff down the road. This is Steel Warriors, Steel Monsters toy line. It's kind of fun. I don't think I'm going to get all the vehicles because they're just too big. Sorry, it's just too darn loud. It's too darn big. So I've got more stuff over here. Fun stuff going on. And then, let's look at the top here. I got some, just Trouble Bubbles like crazy. I love the Trouble Bubble. And then I love the Fang. I like these little ones. We're going to be getting on classified pretty soon, I believe. But let's get over here into... This is one of my favorite shelves, the Dreadnought shelf. And I put a lot of work into it to set it all up. And I think it looks better now than it ever has. It's a little bit cluttered. But I think that's kind of how Dreadnought's... that's how I think of a Dreadnought display. And then down here, we have got... so all the Steel Monsters figures mixed in with the N2 toys? N2 toys, yeah. So the N2 toys Mad Max. So kind of fun because that's kind of where my collection comes to an end. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at my collection today. It's ever changing, it's ever expanding and contracting at the same time. Pluses and minuses. But I hope you got some ideas for storage or display. I hope you got some ideas out of it, some benefit out of it, some fun, and I hope you just enjoyed seeing it. Maybe you learned something, maybe you saw something you never saw before, and that's what these kind of videos are all about. But I'd also like you to submit your pictures, and I'll have a link down below, Facebook, where you can submit your pictures for my 17,000 subscriber special. I'd love to see your collections, and I'd love to showcase them on my channel. That's a whole lot of fun. It's viewer give back. So anyway, let me know, comments down below, like, subscribe, Toad Hanger out.